Let's consider this graph. So let's turn our focus on the three important intervals. That is from A to B, from B to C, and from C to D. Now the question is, at which interval or intervals is the function increasing or decreasing? So here, pwede natin i-identify, very obvious naman, that from A to B, increasing yung ating function. Yung B to C, decreasing yung ating function. And yung C to D, increasing yung ating function. But how do we relate this with the concept of derivatives? So let's examine the function in the interval between points A and B dito sa part na to. And let's consider the tangent line at each point in this interval. Itong tangent line na kulay black na to. Okay? So anong na-observe natin dito? Evidently, between A and B, the tangent line has positive slope, which means that for the interval A to B, f prime of x is greater than 0. Kasi nga, yung slope ng tangent line is actually the derivative of the function. This is also true for the interval C to D. And for interval B to C, yung atin namang slope ay less than 0. Kaya yung tangent line natin at each point is negative. In other words, we find that the function f increases when f prime of x is greater than 0, and the function f decreases when f prime of x is less than 0. We can summarize the result of our graphical example. So between A and B, f prime of x is positive, therefore f of x is increasing. For the interval B to C, f prime of x is negative, therefore f of x is decreasing. And for the interval C to D, f prime of x is positive, therefore f of x is increasing. Note that if f prime of x is greater than 0 on some interval, then f is increasing on that interval. Ganun din, kapag f prime of x is less than 0 on some interval, then f is decreasing on that interval. Let's have this example. Given f of x equals 3/5 x raised to 5 plus 3/2 x raised to 4 minus x cubed minus 3x squared. Let's determine the intervals at which the function is increasing and decreasing. So for our solution, ang unang gagawin natin, syempre, let's find f prime of x. Kasi ito yung gagamitin natin to find the critical values. So f prime of x is, ano ba yung derivative nito? F prime of x is equal to 3/5 times 5x raised to 4 plus 3/2 times 4x cubed minus 3x squared minus 3 times 2x, or that is now equal to 3x raised to 4 plus, ito magka-cancel, magiging 2, 6x cubed minus 3x squared minus 6x. Now, next is, let's find the critical values. Sabi ko nga kanina, yung f prime of x natin, yun yung gagamitin natin to find the critical values. So, how? So, titignan lang natin saan magzi-zero itong f prime of x natin. So, we equate 3x raised to 4 plus 6x cubed minus 3x squared minus 6x to 0. And if we factor that out, syempre pwede nating ilabas si 3x. Maiwan si x cubed plus 2x squared minus x minus 2. Okay? Or that is 3x. Pwede niyong gamitan ng synthetic division at makikita ninyo na ang kanyang factors ay x plus 1, x minus 1, and x plus 2. Therefore, our critical numbers are, for this, we have 0, we have negative 1, we have positive 1, and we have negative 2. Paano natin yung nakuha? Sinet lang natin yung mga factors to be equal to 0. Parang ito, 3x is equal to 0, therefore x is equal to 0. X plus 1 is equal to 0, therefore x is equal to negative 1. X minus 1 is equal to 0, therefore x is equal to 1. And x plus 2 is equal to 0, therefore x is equal to negative 2. At ito na ang iyong mga critical numbers. Step number 3, let's create a table of signs. So ito yung mga factors natin, and we now know our critical numbers to be 0, 1, negative 1, and negative 2. Aayusin lang natin siya into table just like this. So, dapat naka-arrange siya in order. Okay? Para hindi tayo mahirapan. Ngayon, ang gagawin lang natin, mag-try tayo ng number here na hindi lalagpas sa negative 2. Let's say negative 3. Dito din, magta-try tayo ng number, let's say negative 1.5. Dito naman is negative 0.5. Yung mga in-between, ito ay 0.5 at ito ay 2. And then, etong mga numbers na ito ngayon, we will substitute in f prime of x at titignan natin ano yung sign ng makukuha natin. And if we plug in negative 3 to f prime of x, makikita ninyo na yan ay positive. If we plug in negative 1.5 sa f of x natin, that will be negative. Negative 0.5, ipa-plug in kay f of x, that is positive. 0.5 plug into f of x, that is negative. And 2, ipa-plug in natin kay f prime of x, that is positive. So, hindi natin tinitignan yung mismong value. Tinitignan lang natin yung sign niya. Now, what does this mean? This means that in the interval negative infinity to negative 2, plus tayo dyan, therefore f of x is increasing. For the interval negative 2 to negative 1, minus tayo dyan, therefore f of x is decreasing. For the interval negative 1 to 0, plus tayo dyan, therefore increasing yung function. For the interval 0 to 1, minus tayo dyan, therefore decreasing yung function. And for the interval 1 to positive infinity, plus tayo dyan, therefore increasing. So we can check that by graphing the function. Makikita nyo na tama nga tayo. Negative infinity to negative 2, increasing siya. Negative 2 to negative 1, decreasing siya. Negative 1 to 0, increasing siya. 0 to 1, decreasing siya. And 1 to positive infinity, increasing siya.